Nothing changes in your life unless you do.
Your world is filtered through your mind.
Nothing changes in your life until you change.
If you can learn to change your lens, then you can learn to change your life.
Like Tupac said, we can't change the world until we change ourselves, and you can't change your circumstance until you change yourself. So it's like people always want to point at the external things, but everything's internal. Like when you want to address and adopt a new, healthier mindset or view of life, I think sometimes we get so stuck on trying to control the outside things because it's so easier to point out, but really it's here.
Let me tell you something most people don't want to hear. Nothing changes in your life unless you do. Not your opportunities, not your relationships, not your life, not your environment. Because you can listen to all the audios, take all the advice and read all the books. But if you don't change your habits, your consistency, your standards and your boundaries, life stays exactly the same. Because growth is quiet, growth is uncomfortable, and it's done when nobody is watching. It's choosing discipline over comfort, action over excuses, and clarity over chaos. And the truth is, nobody's coming to save you. It's your life. So stop waiting for the right time or the perfect moment. The version of your life that you want will only show up when you do. Start now. Nothing in your life will change unless you do.
The real message is, if you awaken, if you come out of your trance, if you wake up and come out of your trance, you can control your reality, you can control your destiny, and you can create the life you want, because you can go above what's happening in the world. And even from a Christian perspective, it says we're in the world, but we're not of the world. So we don't have to actually get into the game. We can be a witness to the game and stay out of it. We can enjoy the game and be a witness to the game of life, which is a play of consciousness anyway, and really start creating the life we want. I had a friend of mine one time who sat down with his accountant. This was during one of the big recessions going on in America, and his accountant said, well, your oil and gas business had a record year last year. Your real estate development business didn't have a record year, but it still went up 5%. You've made a great strides in your restaurant business. Your ready-mix concrete business actually was on par with the last year, didn't go down at all. And the accountant said, how do you explain all this success when we're in the middle of a recession? And my buddy said, well, I just chose not to participate. Look, you can choose to participate in that recession or not. You can go above it. You can create the life you want. You can have the relationship you want. You can have the relationship with yourself that you want. You can be happy, regardless of external conditions. So when you start rising above it, you become the master of your ship and your own destiny. You start controlling your life.
If you don't change what you're doing and how you do it, nothing else will change.
You cannot change your life unless you change something.
Once you change one thing, your mindset, you can attack everything. It sucks, but you have a choice to make. Do you want to sit down and go back to that guy you once were? No. So this is what it takes.
If you will change, everything will change for you.
Nobody else at the moment has the power to change you unless you have that initial spark and say, I must do something. I don't want this anymore.
Something in you has to wake up. And usually the only person that can wake it up is you.
Set up a schedule and just do the work. Free from how you feel.
When a person becomes successful or they become a failure, you can look at 3 factors every single time to determine why someone was successful or why they failed. That is their level of self-mastery, their level of observation, like can they read the room? Can they read the person that they're actually talking to? And their level of communication. Can they speak influentially? Can they talk about outcomes in a way that inspire people and motivate people? And can they communicate in a persuasive way that moves people?
You need to start demanding a better life from yourself if you truly want to change your life for the better. And if you are in a position in your life where you're not happy where you're at, whether that's financially, physically, spiritually, relationship-wise, whatever the case may be, you need to force yourself, pick yourself up, create some sort of reasoning for you to go after your life and create a better life for yourself if you truly want to change. And that is going to require you to make sacrifices, you to change the way how you think, the way how you eat, the people who you hang around with, and the things that you do throughout your day. But at the other side of all of that sacrifice is going to be the life that you desire, the life where you feel fulfilled, the life where you feel loved, the life where you're financially set, the life where you're truly healthy and you're enjoying yourself to the fullest.
I have a question for you. Are your dreams big enough? The first secret of self-made millionaires is simple. Dream big dreams. Why don't you dare to dream bigger? Allow yourself to dream. Allow yourself to imagine and fantasize about all your career goals and the kind of life you would really like to live. You know the song that says, you have to have a dream if you want to make a dream come true. It's true for you and for everyone else as well. All self-made millionaires begin with a dream of something wonderful and different from what they have today. Think about the amount of money you would like to earn and have in your bank account. So imagine that you have no limitations on what you can be or have or do in life. Just for the moment, imagine that you have all the time and all the money and all the education and all the experience and everything else you need to achieve anything you want in life. If your potential were completely unlimited, what kind of a life would you want to create for yourself and your family?
You are the only person that thinks in your mind, and you create your experiences. And just for this moment, I want you to catch the thought you're thinking right now and ask yourself, is it negative, or is it positive, or is it neutral? Do you want this thought to create your future? Now, because we think so quickly and the thoughts just go whizzing through our minds, it's not always so easy to begin changing our thoughts. You can start by editing your speech. Begin to listen to what you say, and don't say anything that you don't want to become true for you. There are literally billions of thoughts that you can think, and infinite numbers of things that you can say. Make these be nourishing thoughts. Pick thoughts that create nourishing experiences for you. Don't waste time thinking thoughts that create problems for you and then try to fix the problem.
Once you realize that the reality in front of you is only a reflection of your mindset, you have cracked the code to life. Your life isn't going to change until you change. Because if you think you're a failure, you're going to find yourself failing. But if you find yourself a winner, you're always going to be putting yourself in positions where you win. The circumstances that you find yourself in are just a culmination of all the beliefs that are in your subconscious mind, which is programmed from when you were a young child. If you can take a deep dive into your belief system and then see what you actually believe about the different areas of your life, then work on those beliefs to favor you, your life is going to change drastically. There's not a person, place, or thing that you can't have in your life. You want that healthy relationship? You can have it. You want to move to your dream apartment or buy a home? You can have it. It literally just all comes down to mindset. If you keep yourself stuck and continuously blame your circumstances as for the reason why your life is the way it is, you're never going to get anywhere. You need to stay away from the victim mindset and focus on more of putting yourself in the creator mindset. That's how you get what you want in life.
It means if you want to change your personal reality, you're going to have to change your personality.
Right.
Nothing changes in your life until you change, right? Mm-hmm. So then 95% of who we are is on autopilot, right? It's a programmed thoughts, hardwired thoughts, beliefs, perceptions, unconscious habits and behaviors, and really, really emotional responses that tend to be really knee-jerk and automatic, right? So if 95% of who we are is a set of unconscious programs, then the first step to change is becoming conscious of those unconscious thoughts. Now, people think when they sit down to do the work and make their change, they're doing something wrong. No, those thoughts have to come up. I'm not worthy, it's never going to work. But the person who's truly persevering towards their abundance realizes just because they have that thought doesn't mean it's true. They're curious on what's on the other side of that thought.
Let's break it down really simply, okay? Your personality creates your personal reality. That's it. And your personality is made up of how you think, how you act, and how you feel. So the present personality who's listening to this podcast has created the present personal reality called their life. So if you believe what I just said, then in order for you to create a new personal reality, a new life,
you're going to have to change your personality. In other words, nothing changes in your life until you change. That's the way it is. So it turns out the 90% of the thoughts that we think on a daily basis are the same thoughts as the day before. Same thoughts lead to the same choices. Same choices lead to the same behaviors. Same behaviors create the same experiences. The same experiences produce the same feelings and the same emotions, and those same feelings and emotions begin to influence our very same thoughts. And our biology, our neurocircuitry, our neurochemistry, our hormones, our gene expression, our immune system, all stay the same because we're staying the same. So then there's a principle in neuroscience that says that nerve cells that fire together, wire together. You keep thinking the same thoughts, you keep making the same choices, you keep doing the same things, you keep creating the same experiences that stamp the same networks of neurons into the same exact patterns, all for the reaffirming of the same feeling, and you do that for 10 years on end. The firing and wiring of those circuitries begins to hardwire the brain into a very finite signature. That box in the brain that's created is the same level of mind. And if you keep doing that, it becomes automatic. It turns out that 95% of who we are by the time we're in the middle of our life is a set of memorized behaviors, automatic emotional reactions, constant habits, hardwired attitudes, beliefs, perceptions that have happened just because we've just fired and wired it the same way. So there's a good possibility then, in order for us to change, we better start thinking about what we've been thinking about in changing. We have to become conscious of our unconscious habits and behaviors and modify them.
And niggas don't understand, like, you're living a life of repetition. That's why you keep getting the same formula.
That's called insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result, is the definition of insanity. A lot of people are insane, and they get so far gone. Like, once they get so far gone, like you said, somebody's fat as shit and they think they can't recover. You could, but you don't want to because you know what it's gonna take. Everybody knows what it takes. Everybody don't do what it takes.
I think the stupidest part about it is, bro, a lot of people don't understand, gang. The hill only looks high as shit until you start climbing that bit.
Yeah, of course. And then you at the top, like,
oh shit,
that was easy.
Your world is filtered through your mind. If you can learn to change your lens, then you can learn to change your life. What you expect, you will find. And so whenever you believe certain things and you think about things in a certain way, that is the outcome of that reality, because everything is perception. The burnt toast theory, I talked about this prior, but let's say you burn your toast in the morning. It takes you an extra minute to get out of the door. One person, it ruins their morning because they don't know how to control their emotions. One person thinks, oh well, because guess what? It's a piece of toast. It's not a big deal, right? Might have made you 30 seconds or a minute late to work. But maybe that was supposed to happen. You don't know. We're human. We have no idea what our divine detours are and our divine purposes are. We have no idea, right? When you can learn to change your lens and look at situations differently, your outlook on life will change completely. Reality is neutral. Things happen. Your perspective and your outlook are what is individual. Whenever you can learn to control that, you will learn to control your emotions.
We got to look at these feelings that we feel every single day, and instead of just thinking it's a feeling, say, what is this? Is this guilt? Is this sadness? Is this unhappiness? Is this pain? Is it frustration? Is it resentment? What is the feeling that I'm living by the majority of my day? Now, that's lighting a match in a dark place. In neuroscience, it's called metacognition. The word meditation means to become familiar with. That's what it means. So the more familiar with you are, I can't, it's too hard, I'm never going to change, it's my ex's fault, it's my boss's fault, it's my country's fault, it's the government, it's the weather, it's my pain. Whatever that thought is that you accept, believe, and surrender to on a daily basis, that's automatic. You have to become so conscious of that unconscious thought that it doesn't slip by your awareness unnoticed. You got to catch yourself saying, I'm tired, I'm unhappy, it's someone else's fault. Do you complain? Do you blame? Do you make excuses? Do you feel sorry for yourself? That personality has to change in order to create a new life. So then you have to become so aware of your unconscious habits that you don't go unconscious to them in your waking day. Then you got to sit in the fire of those emotions, and you got to watch those emotions come up and you have to sit with them and know that there's something on the other side of them. Now, this is where most people get up and say, I can't meditate, or I'm going to call up my friend, or I'm going to get on social media and make a post, I'm going to turn on the football game, I'm going to get distracted, just go away. And what we're saying is, we're not relying on anything out there. That's the hypnosis, that's the conditioning. We want you to just become so familiar with that feeling that you catch yourself in your waking day. The moment you start feeling sad and your energy drops, you catch yourself. So there's an unlearning process, or a breaking the habit of being the old self process, that requires a lot of attention, a lot of awareness, and it takes energy. You gotta stay conscious, right? So that unlearning process, then, the hardest part about change is not making the same choices you did the day before. And the moment you decide to make a different choice, get ready, because you're going to feel uncomfortable, feel unpredictable. It's not going to feel good, because even people who feel sad and suffering, at least they can feel that, and that's familiar to them. So you're stepping out of the known into the unknown.
You'll never understand how much your reality can change until you decide to interpret it differently. The double slit experiment is a scientific study demonstrating that subatomic particles behave differently when observed. Meaning, even at a quantum level, reality is not fixed until it's measured. What makes your life any different? I love the classic phenomena known as the red card theory. If you go outside and decide to focus on all the red cards, you're actually going to notice that there are quite a bit. But it's not like the amount of red cards increase, you just decided to notice them more. This is due to something in your brain called the reticular activating system. This is responsible for filtering reality so you can fixate on what your focus is. Kind of like tunnel visioning you in a way. Your brain is constantly seeking to confirm what it already believes. If you think there are so many reasons to be miserable, then your brain is just going to prove you right. But if you decide to focus on the positive and the opportunity that surrounds you, then you're going to notice that there's actually a lot of it.
Nothing will change if you don't. Same habits, same results, same excuses, same problems, same mindset, same limitations. The trail doesn't move closer because you wish it would. The summit doesn't lower itself because the climb feels hard. Every step forward requires a decision. To move, to push, to choose discomfort over staying stuck. Change doesn't happen all at once. It happens one step at a time, one choice at a time, one moment where you decide, today is different. If you want new results, new strength, new peace, change starts with you.
Have you ever noticed that the things you manifest effortlessly are the ones you care the least about? The small desires that seem insignificant come with no struggle because there is no resistance, no tension, no questioning. You think of them lightly and they appear as if by magic. But the moment you place great importance on something, the moment you begin to obsess over it, fear losing it, and wonder when it will come, you create a barrier that keeps it at bay. This is why relaxation is the master key. It removes resistance, dissolves doubt, and opens the door for all that you seek. It is not your effort that brings things to you. It is your ability to rest in the knowing that they are already yours. If you could simply let go of worry, if you could cease all mental struggle and surrender to the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you would be astonished at how swiftly life rearranges itself in your favor. The answers you seek would come, the opportunities you long for would present themselves, and the people, circumstances, and resources required for your manifestation would align effortlessly. You have spent too long believing in difficulty. You have been conditioned to think that only through struggle can great things be achieved. But the greatest secret has always been this: relax, and you will manifest anything you desire. The nature of reality is far simpler than you have been led to believe.
If you've done something so many times that your body now knows how to do it better than your mind, that's a habit. So then the body who's been conditioned into negativity, into sadness, into suffering, into pain, all of a sudden is saying, hey Alex, it's been 2 hours since you've been complaining. I mean, you've been complaining for the last 20 years. You're just going to stop like that? So the body starts trying to influence the mind to return back to the same familiar territory. So the emotion starts saying, come on, you're a loser, you'll never change, it didn't work last time, start tomorrow. And those are the thoughts that are being influenced for the body, that are the same thoughts that people think all the time. So if they respond to that thought's going to lead to the same choice.
The same choice is going to lead to the same behavior. The same behavior is going to create the same experience. The same experience is going to produce the same feeling. And they're going to say, oh, this feels right. Well, no, it feels familiar. The person who's crossing that river from the old self to the new self, that place, that discomfort is not the known, it's the unknown. And that is the perfect place to create in. So then if you teach a person then, what thoughts do I want to fire and wire in my brain? And with a certain amount of presence and attention and intention, they can begin to fire and wire those thoughts. Now, they're installing hardware in the brain. Keep doing it over and over again, and it becomes like a software program. It becomes more automatic. Now, that's the new voice in your head that says anything's possible. I can change. I'm worthy of success. I'm worthy of abundance.